Hey everyone, this is Expert Chess. Welcome to your channel. Now we are going to actually review for today's video. We are just going to review one of the most important and most exciting and somehow run game from World Rapid Chess Championship round 10 from Duda and Murzin Volodar. I hope that I'm just pronouncing it right. So let's jump into the game and see what happened. Please also make sure that you have sub to the channel and give it a thumbs up, and this would just be very encouraging for me to put actually more interesting videos on the channel, which is your channel. So let's jump into the game and see what happens. So here Vorador is having white pieces and Duda with black pieces, we see. So the game starts by d4, knight f6, knight f3, then c5, and c3, and e6. So bishop to f4, everything is normal. It's just queen gambit d so far. So we see e3, yeah, and after bishop d6 and knight d2, castles, and knight there jumps to e5, knight to c6. So queen c7 in most cases will come after, and then white usually plays the move knight d2 f3 to just defend this knight. Here bishop to d3 was played, and as I just said earlier, queen to c7, and here as I just said also again earlier, knight d2 f3. So here h6 and now bishop to g3, a better move maybe was just, but doesn't make much difference here. We see bishop to g3 and after the move knight to e4, so we are just hitting this bishop here. We see knight takes on g3 was possible, and here we see knight takes on c6 and knight takes on g3, and here h takes on g3. It was maybe this little tiny move, knight e7 and queen takes on e7 and now because now this is not the battery I can call. This is not queen c7 and bishop on d6 to maybe in future do some damages. But anyway, we see h takes on g3 and here b takes on c6 was played here. As I just said earlier, we don't want this kind of a structure to be rust, so we take on c6 before b pawn on b7. So b takes on c6, and here if you something played like this, and c takes on d4, c takes on d4, and c5 is possible after rook c1. If you push, then b3 is dangerous for yourself. So queen to b6 is sometimes played, and after d takes on c5, bishop takes on c5, the game just continues maybe by queen to a4. You can't take this pawn because your bishop on c5 is hanging. But actually, let's go back. And after here, just Volodar decided to play g4, so he's now threatening g5 to attack the pawn structure, and this would be a very bad situation for Duda if he doesn't find the right move here. He plays rook to b8, and here we see queen to e2. What happens after if you play the move g5 in this position is that rook takes on b2. If you take on h6, then g6 just simply something like this, and this pawn is stopped. And you must be also be careful about your king's safety here on e1, because the move c5 is just coming. But let's go to the main line here. After rook to b8, nice move from Duda, so he doesn't care too much. He doesn't care too much about the pawn push to g5 here. So after queen to e2, as I just said earlier, c4, bishop to c2, and now if you try to take this pawn here, then you will just be, it is a poison pawn because bishop check after you take this. So let me just show you. It's just bishop h7 after you just grab your rook on b2. So that's why actually taking on b2 is not possible. Instead, e5 was played. After d takes on e5 from Volodar, and after bishop takes on e5, we see knight takes on e5, queen takes on e5, and here round castle from Volodar. After rook to e8, we see rook to h5 attacking the queen here. After queen to e6 attacking the pawn on g4, so we see rook to d4 defending this pawn, and you can't play this because your pawn on d5 is just hanging. Rook dd takes on d5. You should just take. After you take, I just play here, and you'll be able to just grab those c pawns on the c pawns too. So that's not possible to play the move c5 in this position. So rook to e7, and after bishop to f5, threatening to take the queen and the bishop. Okay, so we have queen on f6, bishop f5, queen to f6, and now bishop takes on c8, rook takes on c8, and here queen f3, rook to e6, queen takes on f6, rook takes on f6, and everything is equal now. So we see rook f5 and rook to e6, and rook after f5, f4, and after g5, we see rook to f3, rook to b8, and some simple moves because he was attacking this pawn. So we played rook to e2 defend, and maybe in future we can just take this or take this first. We see rook to e8 defending this pawn, but we see nice move from Volodar f3. So you can't take because your rook on e8 is hanging. We see rook after e6 defending this pawn once more, but it was blunder. He could actually Duda did blunder rook f e6, but he could have actually played king to g7. It was of course very hard move to find. Rook f to e6, and here also his opponent Volodar blundered by playing f takes on e4. He could have actually played rook e takes on e4 after takes, and here in this position white is having nice advantage and can win it very easily. But instead of that, he played f takes on e4. We see rook f6. Duda played the nice move here, and after the move e5, rook to f to e6, we see rook takes on c4, and here king to g7. He could actually take on e5. Duda could actually take on e5, and something like this. This position is still draw, and white cannot win it. But as I just said earlier, king to g7, and king to d2, and king to g6 was played in this position. We see rook to f2, rook to b8, attacking this pawn on b2 here. We see b3, and after rook to b5, attacking this pawn once more. We see rook to e2 defending it, and here if you take, I just take, and here white is much better. So that's why Duda cannot take. After rook to e2, h5 was played, a better move for him, but rook b takes on e5, but okay, anyway, h5, g takes on h5, king takes on h5, and rook c to e4 defending this pawn. Rook to d5, check king to c2, and here after king to g6, c4, we could actually play b4 and then c4, and the move c4, yes, but c4 was played immediately, and here we see rook to d8, g4, g4 was another bad move from Volodar. He could actually play the move b4, but this kind of rook engines are very complicated. cg4 and here c5, rook to d2, rook takes takes, and here after the move f5, rook to e1, rook pawn captures on g4, b4, and here Duda just tries to make the game quite complex until that his opponent blunders. King to e4 and after rook to a6, rook to e2, defending this pawn and also stopping the g2 pawn from promoting. And here we see king to f7, king to d5, so king to e7, c5, and here rook to a3, c3, c6, and rook to c3, e3, e6, and after the move a5 by Duda, rook to e5, so if you push down just this happens, rook takes on g5, but here we see a4 from Volodar. Now at last rook takes on g5, and here after b3, so it's complex, again quite complex. Rook to b7 check, we see king to f6, and that was the serious blunder of the game. We should have seen actually king to f8. Actually after e7, if you take this, it is completely lost for black. But instead you can simply play king to e8, and after, for example, king to d6, you can just give this annoying check, because the threat is just rook to g8 and just promote. If he goes here and here, again check, and the game is just simple draw. But in the main game, he went king to f6 and he blundered the move e7. Now rook today is too late. Okay, after king to c4, rook to e3, stopping this pawn from promoting, but we see a nice simple tactic. Rook takes on g3, rook to e4. If you take, of course, it's just queen. And if you push this way and try to push, then maybe you just queen to b8 as winning. Just hitting this and this. So in the main line, rook to e4 was tried, but this is just completely lost for Volodar after king to d5. And here we see the pawn push to b2, but this is just a stop by rook to b3, so this pawn is a stop from promoting. Rook to e5 was tried after king to, could actually try king to d6, but after this check, you could see after this, and after you take, or just this happens, then rook b2, and this is completely lost for black. Now, of course, after here, king to b6 is just, it finishes the game, I believe, or just after, now rook to h2 even. But in the main game, king to d4 was played, and here we see rook takes on e7, rook takes on b2, and this position is just lost because or you can just do something like this, cut off the king, and simple win from. So okay, but here we see king to c5, and here king to e7, king to b6, king to d8, and here just after king to b7, rook to c1, rook to d2 check, and here pawn push to c7, rook b8, rook b1 check, king to c1, king to c8, and after rook to b3, rook check, and this moment we see that this is going to happen, and at this moment Duda just resigned the game and said GG. Okay, hope you enjoyed this video. Please give the thumbs up, like this video, and please make sure that you have subbed to the channel. That would be just very encouraging. So see you next time. Bye for now.